Okay. Sometimes it's hard to know when that's going to actually go live. I've just been kind of staring at it. It seems like it's been taking longer. Either way, welcome everybody to our Saturday Christian Witnesses of Jah live discussion show, where we talk about a variety of different subjects, primarily related to our three main beliefs: one God the Father, one person, no Trinity. If you believe in the Trinity, we don't dislike you automatically. It's just very clear to us that's not what the Bible teaches. We'll get into it a little bit more later, but we've talked about it many times before. You can check my channel. All kinds of videos. Type in the verse or subject that you want to see if I've talked about. Should be good to go. Otherwise, we have a progressive study on a variety of subjects. One of them is the angels of Jaho in the biblical books. So we've been going through the different books of the Bible and looking at the way that these angels are presented in them. Because a lot of the false teaching related to the triune God of Constantine and pagans that came about later after the New Testament times, during which times even they were dealing with fake apostles, right? People who were lying to them and claiming to be something they're not. Like we see today with many groups, it's been happening the whole time. There's been no change. Satan was thrown down after Jesus was raised to the right hand of the Father, and he's been at war with the seed of the woman the whole time. Isn't that interesting? How these pagans who run around pretending to be Christians, promoting doctrines that took hundreds of years after the New Testament teachings that we're supposed to be handing down, including one God the Father. So interesting when I listen to various people like, of course, Sam Shamoon. I was listening to a little debate he was doing earlier today. And the guy just assumes his doctrine in every single thing he does, right? He doesn't understand Hebrew plurals. If you're not prepared to deal with him on that, I mean, he should have been immediately destroyed on that. So he's obviously picking people who can't handle very basic but important grammatical facts, right? If Sam pulled that on me, he would be immediately dead. He would disintegrate immediately with the information I would spiritually smack him over the head with, right? He has no idea what he's talking about. We got to remember, these guys are gone. We're going to get into the angels of Jaho in the book of Genesis. We're going to talk about those angels and show not only what the Bible teaches, but how these guys are gone, right? They believe in this uncreated angel. They'll tell you Jesus is not an angel. They'll literally condemn you as a heretic if you say he is, unless you say he's a type of angel the Bible never talks about. Isn't that interesting? Right. You gotta believe in an angel that's not taught in the Bible. What the Bible teaches, well, let's just go to it, right? Let's do that right now, and then I'll welcome you guys. We'll give people time. We've discussed this many times before, of course, right? I have whole videos on it. When you're dealing with liars like Sam and other Trinitarians who follow him and who are just gone, right? Even if they don't follow him, they're listening to anything but what the Bible, all the way to the New Testament apostles, clearly teach and hand down. If it doesn't match what we read in those documents from those apostles, then no, you're not from them and you're not handing it down, okay? So it's really easy to see when people do this. You know what's so funny as well? I've talked about Hebrew plurals many times. It's one of the stupidest arguments they have because, of course, they're gone, right? They not only fail to realize that Hebrew plurals have multiple uses that frequently do not involve a plurality, but they also simultaneously, while arguing with you that it is a plural, they lie to you about what it is a plural of, if any, right? You got the pervert Sam today, like he's been doing for decades, right? That's why I say, if you're not ready to just blow him off immediately, it's gone. Hey, no, you're wrong. If he keeps going, well, I just said you're wrong. Do you want to know why or not? Are you interested to know why you're wrong on the plurals or not? Oh, you don't want to know why? Okay, well, you're wrong. Sorry, I said you're wrong. You didn't want to know why it's over. See? You got to be able to direct Sam. He'll direct you. Now, He lies all the time, though, right? So Sam is really good, like I've been telling you guys. He's passionate about lying, you understand? The dragon is at war with the seed of the woman. You don't understand that. You don't believe that, right? If you're just kind of a casual observer and like philosophical or theological debates, well, that's one thing. If you're an actual believer, okay, then you have to be seeing this as an ongoing war. If you're not, well, you're losing, okay? Now, we don't need to convert these people. They have plenty of information, all the information. They would, that's just entertainment, really, and often a waste of time. Like I said, Sam usually lies, and it's always good to hear, some things that might be true about God. But again, we're not supposed to even be arguing at all. We do it occasionally, like the apostles had to do, but it's not like what we seek out, what we, we're looking to do, like a lot of these guys do. And it's really all Sam does, right? It's all he can do. He doesn't have the Holy Spirit. He doesn't show the fruit of the Spirit. I told you. And called him out the other day, right? A few weeks ago. I said, Sam, let's see you do a video on the Holy Spirit. Fruits of the Spirit. Or we've talked about the Spirit in all kinds of ways, including the fruits of the Spirit, the gifts of the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. If it doesn't involve a debate or an argument, usually Sam's not interested. And when it comes to discussing texts in the Bible that have to do with the qualities he doesn't exhibit, well, you can forget it, okay? These whole plurals, though, they're just so gone semantically, grammatically, usage, different periods of time, I should do another video, I only did a few clips from things. I didn't think the fact that this is still even used is embarrassing, right? All any person talking with Sam who try to use these Hebrew plurals incorrectly has to do, just say, well, Sam, let's look at the Greek translation. Say you're not like really advanced. You want a really quick kill switch on Sam's whole Hebrew plurals. So stupid, right? He not only, again, as I've said, is wrong in all those ways, but he misunderstands. I'll give you the kill switch in a moment. If it's a plural, then it's more than one of the thing that's plural. So God's plural, you pervert. Same with any other thing that would be plural. Creator, plural, that's creators then. So you're a liar. He's a pervert. Contradicts everything for the sake of trying to fit his doctrine in the text. That's what he does in everything. That's what they do with the word for God and everything. Son. So I say, you'd be better off anytime you're going to entertain a sustained discussion or debate with a Trinitarian. Before you do that, just say, look, before we get into this, there's you can pick how many terms you want to make this an issue over. But if you don't do it, I don't know why you would waste your time. Going forward, you're just going to come right back to it. So establish it now and determine if they're going to listen or not. Here's how. There is no example anywhere in the Bible where the word God means anything but an individual God. There might be a couple usage in unique grammatical context that means something similar but a little different, but it's no. The overwhelming, if not all the uses for the terms for God in Hebrew, Elohim, all the forms for God, whether they're plural, singular, I don't care. Theos, theoi, just like John 10, right? Look, we use the Bible here, right? And culturally relevant and historically significant documents outside and alongside of it. So where there is no example, unless you can show an example, you can tell the Trinitarian this. This is why I tell Sam. I say, well, Sam, it's real simple. Where's the Bible use the word God? Any word for God for anything but a God. Yeah, God or a God. Where? Where's that ever done? Where they ever talk about it in any other way? Never. Exactly. That's why Jesus used gods from Psalm 82 to respond to their accusation about God in the singular in John 10. See, it's really interesting, embarrassing when you just can show them, this is what it means, you perverts. Not one time did Sam bring up John 10 today and say, oh yeah, this is how we determine what God means when it's applied to Jesus. Yeah, he quotes Psalm 82, part of a first-class conditional sentence. No one has responded to this. Okay, if someone's lying to you and claiming that my unanswerable question on John 10, 35 through 36 has been answered, show it to me. Just put it in the comments to this video or, right? Why isn't this person putting it in the comments to the video? Exactly. It doesn't exist. They lie. Like Sam, and Sam is the main one. He just gets up here, says, oh yeah, here, let's read John 10:35 through 36. Oh, that's why Greg's wrong. No, the question's real specific, everyone. And if you can't require them to answer this, you shouldn't be involved. This isn't for people who are weak, so that the second someone changes the argument on you, you dissolve. No, you have to have some resolve. If you want to solve the problem, false doctrine, okay? John 10:35 through 36 is unanswerable. It destroys their doctrine. How? Grammatically, there is no way to translate verses 35 and 36 other than to have Jesus citing Psalm 82 and the gods in it as evidence he's not blaspheming by calling himself God's son, which is paralleled in that account with the Jews accusing him of being theos. The very thing he's described as being in John 1:1, which is exactly where all the sons of God are according to Job 38. Sam is a liar. We saw this clearly on Thursday, did we not? Numerous clips coming up. This guy's not getting anywhere. He's just a pathetic liar. He's an effective arguer. That's why I'm preparing you for him. Yeah, you need to be able to deal with him firmly and effectively. Can't do that, it's game over, right? But he's also a mental case. He's gone, right? He's not a normal person. Even he said that. He's emotionally unstable. Anyone can see that. So he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. If he was actually filled with the Holy Spirit, he'd be showing self-control. And if he can't do that, he'd be empowering other people with some self-control and not blaspheming God on a daily basis like he does, right? So his perversions will never work on us. You understand? They only work on people who either have a perverted view of God themselves or who aren't listening to what the great pervert is actually saying. So just tell them, okay, if we can't agree right now that the words for God in the Old and New Testament, all of them, plural, singular, all of them, mean or refer to an individual or a plurality of individual gods, like they actually do. That's the point. We can't agree on that, and you can't show me a text in the Bible where it is explicitly using it for something else, like a person of a god. You can't use it that way. Okay, that's later. You understand? That's why we keep telling you, pagans, your beliefs are hundreds of years later, not even formally required until the dragon emperor came along, killed a bunch of people, set up giant idols to him and false gods, lied about a vision. You guys believed it all. And from there, things just went worse and worse. Not only there, right? This back and forth convulsive pagan church, all the way to your birth of another pagan church, your conquests and killing and attacks, everything you can to make everyone hate a false Jesus. You pretend's the real Jesus because you try to force them under threat of heresy and all this stuff that we're just barely, right? Even now, we got these perverts out here like Sam who come and attack you and your mothers, and we're supposed to say, oh yeah, this guy's from the Holy Spirit. This guy represents the true God. No question about it, right? It's not about being perfect. It's about being a pathetic pile of garbage, lying to people, praying to people you're not told to pray to, and telling others they're garbage if they don't do it or say anything about you doing it when you have no authority to do it. Using idols in all of your doings, prayers, attending congregational gatherings right there in front of everybody, bowing down before you guys are gone. It's not even a question anymore. This has been signed, sealed, and delivered like your pagan emperor gave you a false doctrine almost 2,000 years ago. It's over. These are just the last, final, pathetic, weak convulsions of the dragon church as you guys go down in flames, right? Your pagan pope, your blasphemous apologist, your nonstop attempt to use idols to lure people who aren't coming to you anymore. People are abandoning your churches. People are leaving your churches because those aren't real churches. They never were. They're just buildings that you guys created so you could try to keep control of the seed of the woman. Doesn't that sound like a tactic the dragon would use? And if not, you don't think so, you tell me what he is using. Because I read in the text in Revelation 13, he's acting like a dragon with two horns like a lamb after a wild beast persecuted the Christians. We can fit exactly through history like I have in that 9-part series. Either way, we're talking about the angels of Jaho in Genesis. We're also actively engaging a pervert, and his church is going down, right? His two churches, right? His pagan dragon church and its bastard stepchild, the Eastern Orthodox. Their paganism and their devotion to these people who are only living to God, and no one is given authority to ask them for anything. Yeah. So we're dealing with people who don't care about the Bible. We literally had Sam Shamoon on Thursday. We played it. I'll do a separate clip. He explicitly stated Jesus has always had life in himself. Never once proved it, only disproved it, and openly defied the text that proves it. Not only that he was given life in himself, contradicting what that pervert lies about. These guys openly lie about the Bible. Isn't that? It's embarrassing. It's disgusting. I have no mercy, and I will not for these liars. They can confess, repent, and I will not attack them physically, but I'm going to resist them with everything I have spiritually because of the damage they're doing, the lies they're telling. But we've done so much already, right? For us, it's kind of like just maintaining this evaporation of poisonous gas doctrine, right? I mean, just this filthying of the air by the ruler of the authority of the air, right? He's getting thrown down. He's coming down. Michael's in town. Archangel's around. Better believe they don't like that. Let's see who's around here. Okay, when we get to our subject, it's interesting though. Like I said, let me wrap that up. You just require them. Say, hey, well, show me one text where the word God means anything but a God or gods, an individual God. Sam, everything he ever says for today, I was like, whoa. Right, he was just reading every time he said God, God the Father. Even this angel, right? This uncreated angel they lie about, we've destroyed them about. Let's take a look at it. We're going to look at Psalm 104 just real quickly. It sets the stage for this whole angels of Jaho in Judges, part of our series. But just to remind ourselves, right? We've covered this. He hasn't responded to this. We destroyed Sam Shamoon and every Trinitarian out there who takes that same position that the angel of Jaho in the Old Testament is equal to God or part of a Trinity. That's a lie. That is a blasphemous lie. You're a heretic if you believe that lie from a New Testament, biblical, apostle, Christian perspective. If you don't think so, then answer my videos and my questions. I have one specific to the angel of Jaho, that this pervert, butcher, and rapist, and everybody else like him will not answer because it's over. They've been destroyed. That's why he can't watch what he is watching, but he pretends he's not watching it because he can't deal with it. So better yet, just say you didn't watch it. Exactly. You're finished, my friend. And it's been done like so many times, right? Like, what are we on now? 4, 5, 6 times this guy's been blown out like a homo's rear end after getting sodomized. That's a metaphor, but I mean, this guy, right, he deserves it. That's essentially what we're dealing with here. He's gone. There's nothing left here. He has no elasticity. He's using the same things over and over again and begging the question nonstop while reading his doctrine into all these terms and texts. Just tell him, where does it say the word God or is clearly used of anything but an actual God or gods? One example. Okay, well then why go forward and talk about a text like John 1:1 that uses God, the God, right? They're just going to interpret it as two persons of the Trinity. Did you know that God isn't even there fully? Where's the Holy Spirit, right? They'll assume it's there. But the God and God in John 1:1, neither one of those are gods or God, right? Exactly. They're persons of God. If either one of them is God individually, no Trinity. And yet that's exactly what it tells us explicitly. Looking right at it for 2,000 years almost, blind as perverted bats. These guys, Sam too, right? He brings it up, he's toying with it, but he doesn't know what he's dealing with. He's going to get into so much deep trouble the more he tries to get into this whole... He's always dealing with rabbis. He tries to toy with Philo, but he has no idea. It only gets worse for him. This whole two powers things he keeps kind of alluding to, that has nothing to do with the Trinity, you pervert. If anything, it's more close to what we're telling you. Two separate gods. Okay? So I don't know why you're using Philo or these rabbis. You know, some of their comments, I can see why, but it's just overall, and just how much of this beyond the Bible do you want to get into? Right, let's deal with what we all accept as authority and not have you lying about all these other sources and texts claiming you know what they actually teach and that they're talking about what the Bible teaches. That's what's really crazy, right? Or that it's consistent with the Trinity at least, right? Some of it's more biblical than Trinity. But they do have a lot of Greek philosophical and later rabbinic mystical thinking that gets into these uncreated abstractions and philosophical categories where the Bible doesn't teach. Right? It's not teaching in those languages and modes of thought. So that's where kind of the Trinity was developed from, right? All these Greek apologists, these Middle Platonists, and others who barely had copies of the Bible at the Council of Nicaea. They had to rush them there, according to Athanasius, right? And who knows what they got, right? But at least some others were there. And so I'm sure they had enough, but you had the pagan emperor contributing the key term, homoousios. Where's that in the Bible? What are you talking about? It contradicts everything. Him and his whole plurals, right? Destroyed him on the New Testament letter openings, the way this guy tries to create this whole Trinitarian lie out of singular verbs for multiple subjects when it does the same thing for humans. He's a liar. These guys are butchers and rapists. They're not your friends, okay? You should only be thinking of them as your spiritual enemies if they lie about the Father and oppose the biblical created firstborn Son. Hey, do whatever you want. Hang out with whoever you want. I'm not associating closely with those kind of people. I'll work with you. Don't go to charity. I'll do just normal things. I'll even jump in and save you if you're being attacked. But we're not worshiping together, right? We're not worshiping with someone who blasphemes the Father, who redefines his nature, right? You're getting into the Father's metaphysic, huh? Okay, well, that is the Trinity, and you guys are crazy. Let's bring up the Bible Hub, and I'll say hi to you guys. Welcome to our Saturday show, by the way. Talk a little bit about Sam. So you can do the same thing with the word son, like with God. Before we start, okay, we're going to be reading text, only begotten son, firstborn son. Okay, now all the sons of God shouted when God created. Exactly, they were in the beginning, like John 1:1 says. Jesus parallels himself as the Son of God with the sons of God. John 8:82, they're gods, he's God. John 1:1-2. It's over, everybody. Our beliefs are exactly what the Bible describes, Genesis to Revelation. We don't need all this other stuff. They do, right? They need to redefine everything. That's why I tell you, before you start, where does God ever mean anything but God or a God or gods? Ever. One time, show it. Exactly. So, same with son. Where does it ever mean it's not temporally distinct from the Father? Figurative or literally, okay? Same with firstborn. These people are so pathetic. Like I've shown and will show, and they'll keep lying about it. Firstborn, right? The overwhelming number of uses literally as Jesus is presented to us. There's nothing figurative about how he's presented as firstborn. And even if he is, all other figurative uses of firstborn for David, Ephraim, you name it. Firstborn of death in the Hebrew. They're all temporal. They're all temporally distinct from those that have fathers as well. In the case of the firstborn of death, right, it's a disease, not the same in the Greek and Hebrew, and, right, it doesn't use prototokos, but it says in the Hebrew, firstborn of death. Still, we're not dealing with the prototokos usage, and firstborn of death is still not eternal, right? They're crazy. It's temporal. They have nothing. It's literally defined for us several times in the Bible, in Deuteronomy, 21:17 being one of them. And they can't see it Beginning of his generative power, Hebrew. Beginning of his children, Greek. But what do you not understand about the Father who's there with all the sons of God applauding when he's creating things? Job 38, John 1:1, Genesis 1:1. Words with him, sons of God are with him. All the angels are with him. Who does that include? All the angels. Angels of Jaho. His angels. It said, all my angels. Thursday show, clip coming up, game over. They have nothing. They're angels, everybody. Look. We've talked about it numerous times before. Let's just do it real quick because we are talking about angels of Jaho. And we have a mega perv and a bunch of sub pervs, followers of the dragon, those who are not repenting and know what they're doing, and so they're able to be held accountable for their lies. We're talking about misrepresenting the God of the Bible, everyone. This is no joke here, okay? We're not here to let a pervert lie about the Father, the Son, or anyone. Look at these pervert versions. Praise Yahweh, my soul, Yahweh, my God, my Father and your Father, my God and your God. I think I'll go with Jesus. Exactly. Who's Jesus' God? Father. Who's our God? Father. Done. Who's the one God? Father. Done. Who's the only true God? Father. Done. They're crazy, everyone. Where does the word God ever mean anything other than a God or gods or the God? It doesn't. Exactly. So why are you letting them tell you it means anything but that? Because that's what they're telling you it means every single time they use it. Do you understand? Do you understand the deception now? So count up how many times the word God is used in the Hebrew and Greek texts. Exactly. Old and New Testament. Go ahead and do it. That's how many times. You understand how bad this is now? And why I take so much time on my own to try to warn and help as many people as I can. When I hear these perverts and liars, we can't stand them. I can't stand these type of people who openly lie for their own benefit and praise. These are perverts, everyone. And we have to do what we're called to do. To give the one who deserves it the right praise. Praise Yahweh, my God and your God. Psalm 104, verse 2. Yahweh wraps himself in light, as with a garment. He stretches out the heavens like a tent, and lays the beams of his upper chambers on their waters. He makes the clouds his chariot, and rides on the wings of the wind. He makes, it says winds, right? Winds his messengers, flames of fire his servants. NIV, New Living, they're both perved out translations, as we know, in many ways, right? NIV will often use angels where it says Elohim, and here, where it actually says angels, Malachim, it doesn't use angels, right? That's why you got to watch the NIV, okay? So in this case, even the King James blows the NIV away. How pathetic, because of the age, right? You'd think they would have learned, but no, it's their doctrine, everyone. You understand? Dragon Church, who maketh his angels spirits. That's actually what it says. We'll go take a look at it in a moment. New American Standard, also a perved out translation. They should have even known, of course, from Hebrews 1, where this is cited. Verses 7 and 14, we'll go to it. Legacy Standard, a little bit better, okay? Winds, he makes his angels the winds. Are you sure about that? Yeah, because I think it was talking about the winds that his chariots over in the prior verse. We'll see if it's the same Hebrew word, because if it's not, then it shouldn't be translated as winds in the prior verse and in verse 4. Dewy rains, and of course I know that's a translation of Latin, but we don't look at the Latin here. So when I say dewy rains, I meant to say this the other day, I mean the Latin. But if I'm not going to verify the Latin, I'm going to specify the translation of it, and that's it. Okay, so verse 4. He makes his angels spirits, flames of fire. Just like we see, and we're going to see tonight in Judges, all throughout the Old Testament, when these angels appear, no one more so than the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament. Okay, so now let's go to Hebrews, where this is quoted, the book of Hebrews. Oh, actually, let's look at the Hebrew. I'm sorry. Would you want to verify that? I'll welcome you all in just a moment, but let's take a quick look here. Let's look at the prior verse here. Okay, so it actually does say the same word ruach here for wind in verse 3, but ruach can mean that, right? It can actually mean both wind and spirit. So we'll take a look at what the Greek says. That would be our closest association to the Jewish understanding of this text based on their translation. So at least we can verify that, and we can allow for the translation of wind in verse 3. And or even angel, you could argue, although that's not likely, I would say. But if it is, it won't change verse 4, excuse me, which is even quoted in Hebrews 1, as we're going to see. And the comparison is very explicitly made in Hebrews 1 between actual angels, right? And it's not making a comparison between Jesus in Hebrews 1 and the wind, the abstraction of wind, or the physical force of the wind, the natural force. Okay? But ruach can mean both of those. So it's good that now this though is different, right? And this calls them his ministers, flames of fire. And it uses the term for angels, Malakayu, or Malakal, depending on how you want to pronounce the vocalization of the Masoretic pointing, right? Malakal. So sometimes the wa can have an u pronunciation, or an actual like ow, with a W like sound, like it shows right there. So it really just depends. We don't really know exactly how all of these terms were pronounced. The Masoretic vocalization, pronunciation of these Hebrew terms according to the Masoretic tradition is not always accurate and is often wrong. And we have even earlier evidence of pronunciations that are different from even later pronunciations that are still different from the later Masoretic pronunciation or vowel pointing. Okay, so malakau, his angels, it's the plural of malach. He makes his angels spirits. And angels is not used in verse 3. Ruach is, though. And ruach is used as the plural here because it's also a meaning of the term. Ruchot. He makes his angels spirits. Ose. His ministers a flame of fire. Okay, now if we go to the Greek, which we'll see is the same as the New Testament quotation. That's not always the case, though, right? So we want to verify. So here you can see, let me make this a little bigger. We'll get to Judges in a moment, but we're laying a little foundation work. Remind everyone of what we've proven many times before, and that is all of God's angels are created spirits, flames of fire. Every one of them. No one more so than the angel of the Old Testament based on the extended descriptions, namely their servants, flames of fire, which no one is more so, as I've said, the angel of the Old Testament. Verse 4 here in Psalm 104, quoting Hebrews 1, we'll go to in a minute, then to Judges. The one, right? Ha-poi-on. The one making, right? It's a participle. So he who is making, the one making, present participle. The one making the angels of him. Tu sangalu sao tu. The one making the angels of him spirits. Okay? Did everyone see how that works? I know it's not as easy as the Greek New Testament analytical form it shows, but I'm trying to simplify it for you. So right here you have the Greek article, right? Most of you know about that. Ha, which means the. Sometimes it's in a different form, right? So here's another form of the Greek article, tous, but it's in a different case. And it's in a different number. And so Greek has a lot of different forms of the article to match the terms it's associated with in case, number, gender. There's some exceptions, but they're the common associations. are those. So, the one making the angels of him, right? It's talking about God, like we read this whole thing, right? It's talking about the God. Here he is right here. The Lord, the God of me, right? This is a later Septuagint copy. It says Jaho in the Hebrew and likely earliest Greek. Right, and then verse 4, the one, Jaho, the God of me, making his angels spirits. Okay, so just so you all understand that. Grammatically, this has to mean he's making them something, spirits. And earlier also, if I didn't finish it up, remember, they haven't answered my unanswerables, John 10, 35 through 36. No, they haven't. Then if anyone thinks they have, you don't need to send me a link or anything. I don't need to go videos. It's real simple. Watch that video. What I asked for. Give me your protasis and apodosis. Right? It's a first-class conditional sentence. Right? So one part can't stand on its own. It has to be associated with the other. You understand? Exactly. Show me your grammatical protasis and apodosis. Just translate it and say this is the protasis. This is the apodosis. And then say, this is what it means, right? Jesus is citing this text as evidence required by the first-class conditional statement because, exactly, game over, no Trinity. Just like right here. Okay, so the angel of Jaho, right? And the angel of Malachi 3, right? The angel of prophecy, all that stuff. Any angel that is an angel of God, the angels of him. What do you Trinitarians not understand here? Where's the exception? No Trinity. Right, they're angels. Like we've been telling you, angel worshipers. Like we've been telling you, pagans. See, Satan's an angel. He was an angel, right? Exactly. He wants us to worship him and other angels. That's why that's forbidden. That's why Jesus, the archangel, doesn't do that. It has to be given to him by the Father, and then it's acceptable because he glorifies the Father, Philippians 2, 9 through 11. Exactly. That's not how Yahweh is when he's being glorified. It doesn't go to anyone else. It's all him. Okay, the one making his angels spirits. And, that's Kai, the servants, tous liturgus, of him, right? That's the pronoun of him, that meaning gods. And the servants of him, fire flame. Right, you guys understand now? Exactly. Just like Exodus 33 teaches explicitly, no one can see God's face and live. It took extreme precautions and even hiding Moses behind a rock in his hands just for him to see his backside. Okay, and then John 1:18 confirms it. No one has seen God at any time. Exactly. So, what we're seeing throughout the Old Testament and in the New are angels. Always. That's never not the case. His angels are spirits. They can take human form, like we see in Genesis 18:19 and other accounts, and we'll see tonight even. They can eat, like those same accounts, and we'll see tonight even, or almost, preparing to, and Jesus in the New Testament. But they're spirits. They're not born like humans like Jesus was. That's the difference between him and his post-resurrection and pre-resurrection taking human forms, or someone like Gabriel taking human form, any angel. Otherwise, they're spirits, flames of fire, just like we see all over the place, you know, Genesis, the cherubim, the flaming sword, Garden Eden, like right there, as early as you could almost get. In Exodus, right, appearing in the flaming bush, those are angels. The account even says, and Acts 7 says, these guys are gone. They're angels, everybody. They speak for and act as God. Always. Except for occasionally when they say things that don't take away from what they're there to do, to deal with the events taking place around them. Whether it's Michael dealing with Satan, the angel of Zechariah dealing with another angel coming to him. or the angel in Revelation 22 telling John not to do that. Okay, they're dealing with things happening as they're there to speak and act for Yaho. They have to pray to get words from him. Sam has no answer. That's a whole nother video coming up. The angel of Yaho, one of his angels, who's a created spirit. This word poyon, okay, that means they're created. He's not saying he's appointing his angels as spirits, right? Otherwise, someone's going to have to show me a text where the angels are explicitly created, but it's very clear they're being compared with the Son here after his resurrection. It's not like that. He makes his angels spirits, flames of fire, hapoyon, the one making them. They're appointed as angels, so it wouldn't even make sense. Sometimes poyon can have a meaning like that. It's still temporal, right? Something that wasn't there before. But it would have to be grammatically different, right? It would have to be the one making his spirit, appointing his spirits angels. Because angels does have a functional, that's what it is, right? Angels is not a nature. It's just there are so many of them that are spirits, we commonly associate them with that term angel with the spirit nature. Very understandable. And it almost reflects it because of the way we are taught it, the way we read it. But as we know, that humans can also be angels. They can have a functional term. That's really its meaning. Sam says that a lot, right? But he doesn't understand. Right, that still means they're created spirits, though, Sam. God's never called an angel, ever. That's why they keep lying to us that this angel is God. No, he's just speaking for and as God, just like a human prophet does. I'm going to show you that tonight, too. Right before the angel does. These guys are gone. Okay, so angels, God's angels. He makes his angels spirits. He creates them as spirits. If he wants messengers, he creates them as spirits, like he did. Flames of fire. His servants are flames of fire. Right, like they are, because that's what he made them to do. Angel of the Lord being the number one of this. This description fits no one if it doesn't fit the angel of Yaho, the primary one. If there's more than one, he's a liar on that too. We've disproven that. So we're dealing with a liar. We all know this. Don't forget this. Okay, you shouldn't be taking him seriously on any level. He openly denied that Jesus was ever given life in himself. Like literally what the Messiah teaches in John 5:26. It's like a 1 Corinthians 8:6 denial. This pervert tells us he's always had life in himself. So you're not going to be able to reason with this guy. You understand? He's gone. There's no coming back for Sam. If there's any chance, we'll let God the Father humiliate him and we'll see what happens. Till then, you got to shake yourself. Okay, he's a trained liar. And if that's the case, doing what he's doing, who do you think's with him, helping him do these things? The enemy of the woman's seed. Why do you think he's attacking us? Exactly. Because Satan can't handle it. So he uses this pervert who can't handle it. He's got no self-control. He can barely contain himself while he's debating someone and not humiliate them and mock them, and then turn around when they say even the barest thing and claim they're disrespecting him. He's gone. Okay, you're not going to get fairness. You're not going to get truth. You're nothing. You're going to get the biggest dose of lies a pervert can dish out. Okay, he is attacking us with, he's the liar. So what do you think he's going to keep doing? Right? I told you. How many times is God used in the Old New Testaments? That's how many times he's lying to you. Okay, how many times is he using the word Lord for the divine name in the Old Testament? That's how many times he's lying to you. Okay, it's almost very similar, a little different. Same with son. How many times is the word son used for Jesus between him his relationship with the Father? That's how many times he's lying to you there. Okay, so why are you letting him do that? Why don't you make him prove that the word God means anything but a God? Gods are the God. Well, if he can't do that, then why is he even reading a text that says God in it? Because God the Father, God, he's an individual God, like always. Like it even says he is, right? Gone. So even same with the Messiah, right? He will be called. It's future, not yet. Mighty God, angel of great counsel, no Trinity. They're gone, everyone. Okay? Like his resurrection, why aren't they dealing with that? It says in 1 Corinthians 15:45, he was made a life-giving spirit, genomai, just like Adam was made from the dust. He was firstborn from the dead, genao. Hebrews 1, Colossians 1. Where are they getting eternal generation from that? Right? He died. That's why he had to give the Father his spirit, like the Bible says we all have to give him our spirit. The only reason Jesus is given the spirit in the New Testament by Stephen in Acts 7, pervert. Again, he's given all authority and power. He's the one responsible for all those things. What do you not understand about all authority and power and everything and everyone subject to him sitting on God's throne? That doesn't mean Trinity. That disproves the Trinity. He's given all that. Just like he's given the name he didn't have eternally that's written on us, distinct from the name of the Father that's written on us. And even if it's the same name that's written on us, Revelation 3:12, it's a new name. He didn't have it before. Philippians 2:9-11 says the same thing. Hebrews 1:4, game over, no Trinity. Okay? He wasn't better than the angels. He became better than the angels. Immutability, didn't have the name eternally, no Trinity. How much more evidence do you need before you stop listening to a pagan pervert? He's not going to stop. He has no conscience. He has no other option. He will not go and do anything else but what he's doing. He can't. Even if he can, he can't. He's too insecure. He can't handle it. No self-control. No fruits of the spirits. Nothing. Gone. Psalm 104. It's over. What do they not understand? He makes his angels spirits, flames of fire. What would make you think there's an uncreated angel anywhere in the Old Testament? Do you not understand what angels are? Why isn't this just repeatedly smashed into his spiritual brain until he accepts this is the Old Testament teaching and the New? Let's go to it real quickly. Then Judges, all kinds of stuff. Yes, 13, we will get into it. Even more stuff, Gideon, things we haven't talked about before, real quickly though. He's gone. The one making the angels of him spirits, exactly like we read in Psalm 104. His servants, flames of fire. It's over. Okay, there's no change in this. There's no difference. They're not making any exceptions, talking about him as a human, what he did versus the angels in the Old Testament, which included him not as a human. Exactly. Because like verse 4 said, he became a man, died, then better than the angels. So then it starts talking about him as he was a man and died, and as he became better than them, how he's better than them, which includes the reference to them as created spirits in the Old Testament, which includes him, right? As they say, right? One of his angels who repeatedly shows up as a flame of fire. All his servants are spirits. They're gone, everyone. Spirits, you understand? Like gods. Where does a spirit ever refer to anything but an individual spirit in the Bible? In John 3:6, Jesus says, what's born from flesh is flesh. What's born from spirit is spirit. It even uses ganao and ek, just like 1 Corinthians 8:6. Okay? So the Bible never describes being born from God in any way directly as somehow different from any other birth from anything. It's a creation. That's why they're paralleled in Proverbs 8 and everywhere else in the Bible. So no one has any basis in the Bible anywhere for any differentiation. The dew is born in Job 38, right? We see right here in John 3, Jesus paralleling humans being born from humans with spirits being born from spirits, or the spirit. Now, there's no difference. He doesn't seize on anything or say, yeah, no, there's different. If you're born from the spirit, if you're ganao from the spirit, ek from the spirit, like I was, well, that's totally different from being born flesh from flesh. No, his whole point is saying it's the same thing. What do you not understand, Nicodemus? Okay, so if I said you have to be born again to see the kingdom of God, that means you're going to have to be resurrected from the dead like me. I'm going to be the firstborn, and if the Father approves, you're going to come after me. Right, you're going to be born again. What's born from spirit is spirit, and you'll see the kingdom of God. What's born from flesh is flesh. You understand that, right, Nicodemus? Exactly. What's born from flesh is another human being. Yeah, it's a person. That's what a human being is. See, Sam always says, every time he says person, you got to stop him right there. Oh, by person, you mean an individual God, right? No. Oh, okay, so where do you get that? Exactly. No, it never means that, and your use of plurals is defeated. What I said earlier, remember the kill switch on Sam? I might have gotten pumped up and moved past it. Real simple, just say, Sam, what does the Greek say? Let's go to Septuagint. I guarantee you in all those plurals he's using, they're singular in the Greek. So does Sam know more than those Jews who translated it and understood that it's not a numerical plural? And they understood how their plurals were used all over the place? And we can give them numerous examples, including for numerous terms outside of God. So you guys need to develop some kill switches for these perverts. Stop letting them run loose with their false doctrine. Tell you what, now I see why this pervert keeps running from me. Now I know why he's a little baby and chicken. When I see Sam arguing with these people, man, and he even has trouble there, I realize immediately, well, he would be destroyed. Right? This guy would, and he knows it. Sometimes I think about people and I realize they don't really know what would happen. But Sam actually knows. He knows he would get wiped out. What else is going to happen? Well, you hear what I just told you about? Well, what's he going to say to all that? Right? You think I'm going to let him just move on from it? Exactly. That's the difference between you and me. So if you don't let him move on from it, he's finished. He'll have to beg you to do so, and you have to say first you have to agree you couldn't do what I asked you to do. Okay? And he's either not going to do that, in which case you do not move on, and it's over. Or he agrees to it, points scored, you move on. Score the next points. He's real easy to beat. You just have to beat him. I keep trying to show you guys. Hebrews 1. Oh, we already read it. Okay. So, I wanted to prove that real quickly. Let's go to Judges. Get to our reading. I'm going to say hi to you guys. Little bonus stuff there, though, right? He's gone. We all know this. It's not like a secret. But Sam's not going to stop, so we have to remind people. Right? He's going to keep trying to outpace us, outpace the truth with lies. Dragon has to. You guys got to try to remember. If you do, fine. But I'm going to say it anyway. The dragon doesn't have a choice. I think a lot of times we just get, it's natural. It's easy to get complacent because we have to live, survive, and we can't be in paranoia and urgency all the time, right? And then we don't have to be to deal with this stuff. The dragon is the one like that. He's the one going crazy. He's the one trying to deceive and lie to as many people as he can so he can get as much time as he can because he knows if you believe like Sam, nope. Okay, so just don't do it. Just don't let him affect you. Right? You got to see through it. Now, the best way to do that, if you're going to deal with him at all, you got to see right through it. See, when I listen to Sam, it's like, none of it gets through. I see every word he says, right? It's like, okay. So we get really bad for Sam so fast. He knows this. That's why, again, right? We have already tried. We've all seen this. We've documented. He can lie all he wants. It's over. Go to Judges. We can do the multi. Right. So we're going to start in Judges 2. Right. So, Judges 1, we're focused in this series, Angels of Jaho. We're doing the book of Judges. It's a one video show, okay? Because we don't have enough material to do more. I can get it all in this one. There's good stuff. This is going to be solid. Don't get me wrong. But it's solid enough for one show, right? So, this is after the death of Joshua. It says, the Israelites asked Yahweh, who of us is to go up first to fight against the Canaanites, right? So this is kind of where the whole account begins. Right, so this is after the death of Moses, of course. After the whole argument between Michael and Satan that Jude talks about. And the only angel that's been described as being associated with the Israelites to this point is the one appointed by God in Exodus 23. We have a whole video series on it. I'm going to do another clip on it. You can look at the Angels of Jaho. what covers that chapter, 23. So it says explicitly, we covered it in detail, and I will do a clip soon, that God appoints his angel, and that the angels, we're gonna listen to the angel's voice, but it's gonna speak Yahweh's words, which is exactly what the angel tells Moses is what it means to be God to someone, right? That's what that proves, you pervert. It proves that being and speaking as God doesn't mean you're God. It means you're representing and speaking his words. So we don't have to have all these Old Testament fulfillments that you misapply anyway in order to demonstrate what it means for someone to be God to someone else. That's why you got to catch Sam, right? I don't know why anyone would let him say even 1 second, right? I guess if he has time, but so that's not that. You got to be careful how you set up with Sam. He's a liar and a pervert. But with the hammering that would take place would be unbelievable. So he can think whatever he wants. It's pretty pathetic, actually. When I listen to it, it's like, shh, guys gotta get this guy. I don't know why you're wasting your time. I've tried to track him down. Again, he won't do it. He's a pervert. It Judges 2:1. Let me make this bigger. We'll leave it like that. It shows the Septuagint, but it's the translation usually on the left in most of these of the Hebrew. So we'll look at the Septuagint, but in all of these instances and Judges that we're going to review, now the book of Judges, I should also point out, like I try to do in these, when we review a book and its contents or subject, we try to give some background material. So briefly, right, we obviously have Judges represented in the Masoretic and Greek traditions and other language versions like the Latin. But we also have texts from the Dead Sea Scrolls, several texts from the 1st century BCE, some of which do cover part of what we're going to read. They say pretty much the exact same thing in most cases. So we've got pretty good representation for the book of Judges and for our subject reading. All right, now in Judges 2:1, let me say hi to everyone real quickly. I keep forgetting to do that. And check the perv out. Then we'll go right through it. We'll partake. I got the red wine, so if you're here to partake as well. It's our Saturday show. We try to meet every Saturday around this time to fellowship and to discuss things of importance. Right now, we're kind of doing a series, but we're mixing in other subjects as well. We've talked about texts related to God's character in the Old Testament, which is often wrongly impugned. And like 1 Samuel 15, for example, we recently discussed. We've been talking about different ways, how we should be interpreting the Bible, looking at biblical books, and basically believing anything, right? Solus Veritas. So we're going to get back to that as well, but we've got some Angels of Jah videos like this one to do. So right before we start reading from Judges and just discussing what Judges says about these angels, some really important stuff. Let me just say hi to everyone. Lalo, 26. Good to see you. Betsy, very nice. Gabriel Dill. Seems like he's always pumped up. Good job, Gabriel. George Lopez, hello to you. Guys are on fire. Bankhead. Very nice. Come on here. Bible first. Good to see you, Czar. Hey, brothers and sisters. Good to see you all. I'm working, sending out the support. Very nice, Czar. Czar, thank you also for the super chat the other day, of course. We don't require that or even believe it's something we should pursue, but we do recognize, I do anyway, the meaning behind it when it's received, but just know that that's not necessary. If it's something you just choose to do, great. I do appreciate it, and I will thank you. But I'm not here to get any money from you or anything but your, hopefully, shared belief and worship of our one God, the Father. Belief in Jesus, the firstborn of all creation, Messiah, Son of God, and follow the golden rule. You do those things, that to me is all you need for payment. But everything you send me, everything you give me is very much appreciated, and I do understand everything, the emojis, right? So everything has significance, whether it's money, emojis, some more or less. I don't miss any of it. I try not to anyway. So I appreciate it. George Lopez, Elohim is never defined as more than one person. It's either singular God or God's not personal God, simple Hebrew. Exactly. So I said, why even go further, right? You heard Sam earlier. That's all he did. Just lied to everybody about multiple terms, right? That don't even mean what he wants it to mean. He's just reading Trinity in it and confusing people. And if you don't have the information, you're going to let him get away with it. But it's so easy to destroy this guy on so many levels. But the most fundamental way, for those of you who aren't really clear on it, well, just tell him, where's God, any of the terms, El, Elohim, you name it, Theos, Theoi, where does it ever mean anything but an individual, a multiplicity, or the God? Never. Okay, that's the whole point. It's unbelievable. That's what Jesus is teaching in John 10 in response to the very question everybody keeps asking and this guy keeps lying about. Is Jesus God? Well, they accused him of it in John 10. There's your answer. I don't know how much more clear you could get. It's exactly what we say, and he still misses it because he doesn't believe it. He's a pagan. But he lies about that too, right? He doesn't want people to think he's a pagan. You think Satan wants you thinking he's Satan when he's lying to you? Of course not. You wouldn't believe him. Laylo, back TR. Good to see you. Did I miss anyone up there? I might have missed some people. I apologize. Kind of scrolling down, just get through it so we can get to our reading. And we'll partake. Chris or Reva, good to see you. I try not to miss new people as well, mostly. But sometimes the messages are going fast. You guys are on fire. And I started a little late, so I have to go back through them all, you know. D-Max, Jesus Christ is the Father, but the Son that came from Mary isn't the Father. Okay, well, I'm not sure we believe the same thing, but we'll try to accommodate you for now. All things were created through Jesus, which means he himself could not be created. Savage Panda. Do you understand the idea of semantic range? Hey, Savage Panda, do you understand what the first part of that verse in Colossians 1:15 says? Exactly, he's the firstborn. So he's the stated exception. Yeah, did you know it also goes on to say in Colossians 1:20, all things are redeemed through Christ? But does that include Satan? If you're Sam, maybe. And then it says that the good news was preached to all creation under heaven. Does all mean all, Savage Panda, in Colossians 1:23? Well, let's take a look at it. Because we got Pervert here, these people love to come in, right? We'll get to our reading in a moment, but let's just wipe out a little pervert here. They love to come in with their false doctrine, totally ignore what I said about Colossians 1:15, right? I meant Colossians 1:23. So everything is against them on firstborn. They can't even understand it. And then they see all, and they only want it to mean all when they want it to mean all, right? Which even in the very context of the very chapter where they lie about meaning all, Savage Panda, all these perverts, pagan, Constantinian, Trinitarians, non-Christians. Some of you might be Christians and just not be pagan advocates like these guys. That's fine. Look right here, Savage Panda. Does all mean all? Then, okay, so every creature heard the good news. Is that what you believe? This is the gospel that you heard and that has been proclaimed to every creature under heaven. Hey, Savage Panda, just to make it easier for you, there's the word for all, and there's the word for creature. And there are the words for under heaven. Okay, so right after verses 16, 17, and 20, right? Crazy, man. And 18, right? Hey, Savage Panda, we're going to show you how to understand, interpret the Bible. You don't want to interpret the Bible like Sam or the way you've chosen to do. No, because that's to misinterpret the Bible. That's to lie, basically, and just read your doctrine into it without proving it. Otherwise, you would have responded to verse 15, right? Exactly. Like I was talking about earlier, you chose not to do that because you can't do that because you're a liar, and you jump to an assumption about verses 16 and 17, which you can't prove, and that's disproven just a few verses later. So, Savage Panda, does all mean all in verse 23? Yes or no? Okay, let's go to verse 20. And through him to reconcile to himself all things, whether things on earth or things in heaven. Hey, Savage Panda, all those, people that are part of all things, right? Like Satan and everything thrown in the lake of fire that burns continuously. It means the second death. Exactly. Right. It says right here, just a couple verses after your verse 16, 17, rapage. Right. It says, see this word all right here? Exactly. You know that word, right? Because you were alluding to verse 16, 17 when you lied about it? Right. So he's going to reconcile through Jesus all things in heaven or on earth. Is that all? Is there an exception here, Savage Panda? Okay. So, the lake of fire, right? That burns before God forever and ever. They're going to be reconciled to God? You sure about that? No. And don't give me your misinterpretation, reconciliation. I already refuted Sam and Dr. White on that. No. All doesn't mean all here, nor does it mean that on earth, unless you believe every single person is going to be saved no matter what. That's not what Revelation 20 through 22 indicates, does it? So even there, gone. It says in earth or heaven, all things. Does all mean all? No, it does not. It's context dependent. Just like in the Old Testament as well. When it says Eve is the mother of all things, if you watch my videos or read the Bible, you know about that. It's Genesis, Savage Panda. No, she's not the mother of all things, is she, Savage Panda? Is she the mother of Adam? Exactly. Is she the mother of the angels? Right. And so all doesn't mean all the time. In fact, it often doesn't. Look, verse 18. He's the head of the body, he's the beginning and firstborn from the dead, so that in all things he might be first or have supremacy. NIV, mistranslation, fine. He still has to be in those things and to be supreme of those things. In all things, he is first. Okay, so is he the first liar, Savage Panda? Is Jesus the first murderer? No. Exactly, that's what we've been telling you. Do you see what verse this is, Savage Panda? Right. It's like the very next verse to the one you perv. And do you want to know what the exception is to this? And this? Same words that were used in verse 23 that we had numerous exceptions to, along with verse 18. Yeah, the stated exception is right here, Savage Panda. You might want to get verse 15 into your Bible and stop being a pervert. Unbelievable. He's gone. So let me just see, Savage Panda, if you perved out to the point where I have to remove you for your perv. Okay, let's see. So you kind of faded as I started to expose you, right? You got exposed there, Savage Panda. Okay, good job. You pulled back on your perv. So you get to remain because you were being refuted and destroyed because you didn't make a point. And you had to be managed. Well, we had to manage you. Put you in an executive level training program like we would with Sam if he converts, right? So same thing. So we'll give you time to think about what I just showed you, okay? And sometimes you get so perved out, you guys get lied to by Sam so much. I know the abuse. Oh, I know. I probably know about his abuse more than anyone today. Many people today, right? Especially most who regularly encountered Sam on YouTube. Although he has probably people who've known him a long time in his circle. Anyway, I go way back with Sam. Nothing new. Be careful. All of his perv outs are going to be here lying, repeating the same things that have already been refuted. They're still literally using the I am argument, everybody. Gone. We'll get to that another time. Get to Judges now. So we just took care of that. Brief little perv out right there, just so we stay on top of these guys, right? We're not going to let them come back. There's no comeback for these pagans. No comeback for the Catholics. No comeback for the Eastern Orthodox. No comeback for any of these Protestant pagan groups. Okay? You're either going to go back to the Bible or you're not here, not coming back or back at all. You're just perverts. Some of you might be nice. That's great. We'll be nice to you. We're not going to be mean to you like Sam and these others and run after you and attack your mothers. But no, we don't agree with you. No, we're not pagans. You are. And we won't even try to hurt your job. Harm your employment like these perverts have done, and the dragon has done far worse in many ways for a long time. By their fruits you'll know them. And there you have it, right? We can't even get Sam to talk about the fruits, let alone show them. Judges 2:1. Okay, every single one of these examples, and I'll just show you this one real quickly. It uses the same expression that I saw. Malach. Well, it says Yahweh, literally. It even mistransliterates it Yahweh there, but we'll say Yaho, okay? Malach, singular. And it doesn't use the article, okay? Even though it says the angel here, it doesn't say the angel. And obviously capital is an assumption as well. This is an actual proper name, so capital here is explainable. You just get the singular, no article here. So it could almost in every one of these be translated an angel of Yaho. There's no reason to see this as any kind of different angel than the angels we just read about in Psalm 104 and Hebrews 1, who are created spirits, flames of fire. He makes his angels spirits. Okay, so if you're one of his angels, you're a created spirit sent forth for public service. That's what it taught in the Old and New Testament about all of these angels, literally comparing them all to Jesus as a man. So he could also be one of them as an angel, not as a man. Because it's not talking about rewarding him for what he did as this angel. All these accounts of what these guys don't understand, same with Revelation 5, he's being rewarded and praised and exalted for what he did as a man. That's the whole point of the contrast in Hebrews 1 and 2. Unbelievable. We use about all that too. They ignore it all. So just know, okay, it just says Malach Yaho, not the angel. It could very well just be an angel of Yaho, which would be the same thing. They're all created spirits. Yes, they have different ranks as far as we know, right? Archangel, angels, there's different descriptions, seraphs, cherubs. There's these different type of creatures, whether they're angels or not. The point is, when it says talking about a specific angel, Bible in Hebrews 104 and Psalm 104 and Hebrews 1 says he makes his angels spirits, flames of fire for public service. There's no exception. There's nothing else stated. And in Job 38, it says, all of my angels applauded. He's talking to Job. So they were all there in the beginning with him, which includes the creation of the earth, which is what it's talking about there before it was made and as it's made. And Jesus refers to the gods who are sons of God and some made to as gods in response to claim he claimed to be as a son of God, theos. So that's our interpretation of John 1:1, everybody. It's so easy to see in just a brief connection of text like I just did. They can't see it, though, because it's not their doctrine. All right, so it just says an angel of Yaho. And it could be the angel in some definite way if you want to. It's not like obvious. But we can come up with ways to grammatically interpret nouns as a special noun in some case. Although usually the article in some way would be that means of indication. And it's not done so here. The Greek presents kind of a little bit different back and forth, and often grammatically can have what we call anaphoric or backwards referring usage. So you can often get introductions of individuals or beings, angels like this, in accounts that are developed, and then the article is used where it wasn't before to let the reader know, hey, this is the angel we've been talking about. It's called anaphoric or anaphoricity. You can look it up. So we don't get that, though, with the Hebrew. That's for the Greek. So now let's go to the King James. Let's just go to the King James so we don't have to deal with this whole NIV and Sam's favorite Living Translation Bible patheticness when it comes to spirits and angels. Especially NIV, right? Because it often does angels even for Elohim. The King James is better than these more modern translations for sure in many ways. Although it also has obvious problems that make it not as good. Judges 2:1. Let's read 1 through 5. And an angel of Yaho came from Gilgal to Bochim and said, I made you go up out of Egypt and have brought you into the land which I swore unto your fathers. And I said, I will never break my covenant with you. Now, let's stop real quickly right here. As we all know, and as we've been showing in all of these reviews of these accounts and discussions of them, these angels come and they bring the words of Jaho and they speak directly as him with occasional breaks in reference to others or people they're talking to as events take place around them. But it doesn't affect the primary reason they're there to speak Jaho's words. So, like I referenced in Exodus 23:20 in the context where we've also reviewed and shown conclusively, we're hearing the angels going ahead of them. It's my angel. It says that explicitly. Jaho. So, and his angels are created spirits, flames of fire, which we see all over the place explicitly, right? Gone. And it says in that same account, Exodus 23, you will hear his voice, but he's going to speak my words. Exactly like Jesus in the New Testament, in fact. And so, because they're both, it's the same thing, basically. Jaho is there in Jesus, telling him what to say and do. He tells us that explicitly. These guys are gone. So, it's the same with this angel. Although the angel's not a human like Jesus, a little different. But we don't know how metaphysically the Father does it either way. So we don't want to speculate like they do, right? Gone. So these angels come and they speak Jaho's words. Jaho tells the Israelites that this angel's going to speak my words. You're going to hear his voice, but he's going to speak my words. Only a pagan or like someone who's barely learning about the Bible can understand what that means. Right, because it means exactly what it says. God's sending an angel, which is a messenger, and telling him what to say, and that angel is actually saying it so that the people he's talking to hear the angel actually speaking. Jaho's words. We've tried to explain this to people who are otherwise seemingly intelligent, but then we question ourselves about that because they can't figure it out. And it's really weird, and the only thing we can conclude is we got false doctrine here, right? We got people who absolutely won't listen to the text or who hate to see the woman so much and the father because they got their, well, you know what, booted from heaven for being a pervert, that they lie. Yeah, they overturn the word they mean of every single use of God. They're so good at lying. Yeah, this is not like a minor thing. It's a big wholesale lie fest. It's a war. Probably bigger than most of you realize. Bigger than I did. And I'm still realizing. But I see it. I see the lies. And lies are the enemy's primary weapon. So the angel's here speaking directly as Jaho. Why? I just told you. That's exactly what Jaho told the people he would do. So anyone who's confused about that, you can't help them. They're a liar or they don't care what the truth is. They want to promote their fake, false religion in God. Won't matter. You could show them Psalm 104, Hebrews 1 like we just did. Won't matter. No, sorry. You can show them Exodus 23 where Jaho says that explicitly. Won't matter. They'll get it all wrong because they don't believe it. So we have the angel of Jaho right here doing exactly what Jaho said the angel would do. He starts speaking Jaho's words. Verse 2, and you shall make no league with the inhabitants of this land. You shall throw down their altars. But ye have not obeyed my voice. Why have ye done this? Wherefore I said, I will not drive them out from before you, but they shall be as thorns in your sides, and their God shall be a snare unto you. And it came to pass when the angel of Jaho spoke these words, right? Okay, so we know already. We already know the angel of Jaho told the Israelites, these people, back in Exodus. But the same thing has been taking place the whole time and through to the present. This is the angel that's going to lead you into this land. He's going to go ahead of you. You're going to fight with all these nations, and you have to listen to him. Okay, we're not going to go to Exodus 23 because we're in Judges, and I have a whole show on it. Okay, just look it up, and I will do another clip coming up. It says this. He's going to do all this stuff. So no one should be confused about who this is. It's an angel. It's Yahweh's angel speaking Yahweh's words directly. We're literally hearing the voice and seeing the angel. And according to Jude, that's Michael, at least where it concerns Moses. And this angel in Exodus 23 is appointed over all these people, including Moses. And in Joshua 5, it's called the Prince of the Army of Israelites. Daniel 12 calls Michael the Prince of you people. Daniel 10:12. So, it's not really hard at all. No, not at all. But even if you don't see it as Michael, this angel of the Lord, it's an angel. It's one of Yahweh's angels, who are created spirits, flames of fire, just like Psalm 104 and Hebrews 1 teach. So when they heard the angel of Yahweh tell them this, they started to cry and mourn. All right, now let's go to Judges chapter 5. So very clearly, everyone, we have the angel of Yahweh doing exactly what Yahweh told the Israelites the angel was going to do. He was going to go ahead of them, bring them into the land, fight with the nations, and speak Yahweh's words with the angel's voice. So that's what we have taking place. Judges 5. Let's go to verse 20. We'll stay with the King James. 5:20. Now, you know how Sam, we of course destroyed Sam and his whole misuse of Genesis 1, John 1, and Nehemiah 9. Little pervert. He tried to argue, of course, he doesn't understand, right? Like we showed, all the heavenly bodies are considered the army of the heavens. Just like all the different armies of the different things created in Genesis 1. They're all physical. He tried to read into it spiritual things that only Nehemiah 9 potentially talk about, because it's talking about something totally different and in addition to Genesis 1 like we described. See Thursday's show. Separate clip coming up. We also showed in Genesis 1, 16 through 18 how there's explicitly said to do things like rule and divide day, night, light, darkness. And so therefore, further befitting the metaphor of armies of the heavens. And you can see here in Judges 5:20, right, Sam tries to say that's only a pagan idea, that the heavens are somehow these gods or armies. Well, we're not saying the heavens, the physical heavens, like the sun, moon, stars, are literal gods, but they do metaphorically serve as the army of the heavens. Not just explicitly according to Genesis 1, like we talked about on Thursday, but right here, Judges 5:20, they fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Sisera. This is how they're depicted in the Old Testament, not just Genesis 1. So try not to be wrongly influenced by a pervert, okay? And it even goes on to talk about the different constellations acting in war-fighting ways. The Kishon sweeping them away, although this gets into earthly things, the river. But this is very clearly describing heavenly things, the stars fighting against Sisera from heaven. Okay, so, but let's go to 21. Okay, the river Kishon swept them away. There were horse hoofs broken by the means of the prancings. Right, it's they're recounting, right? They're talking about events that have happened in the past among the different children of Israel: Benjamin, Ephraim, Zebulun, Reuben. Okay, and then they get to, these are events that happened earlier with Sisera. And then in verse 23, it says, "Curse ye Meroz, said the angel of Yahweh." Okay, so it's the angel of Yahweh still speaking, like we saw from chapter 2. And always, right? It's always an angel. Other than, again, the one time with Moses where he still didn't see his face. And Jesus says, we've not heard the Father's voice. And it's the only one whose face we haven't seen, so we haven't heard or seen him. He's speaking through angels in all these accounts, even the ones where it's not explicit, like we see in Acts 7, where it tells us they're angels, even if the account doesn't tell us, right? Even in very explicit accounts where it says he's literally got to prepare everything and he's coming down. No, never. You're never seeing Yahweh in his face. I'm sorry. Read Exodus 33, the final verse, I believe. Let's just take a quick look at it. This is what the Bible teaches. There's no exception to this. It's never given. And none of the conditions that were done with Moses show that we're done with these other people and they all lived, as we're going to see. And even earlier than that, right? He wouldn't tell Moses that no one can see me and live if people before that who are said to have seen God, but it was really an angel, like we saw in Genesis 32 and Hosea. He wouldn't tell Moses, you can't see me and live, if people have already seen him and lived, right? It'd be lying. But these are liars, and so they don't care. Right here, Exodus 33:23. "I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen." Verse 20, Yahweh said, "Thou cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live." Does no mean no? Is God meaning is all here? Is there an exception just for you pagan Trinitarians and your fake false God and doctrine? I don't think so. I think it's confirmed for us in John 1:11, and the things that had to be done in order to protect Moses are nowhere else done to anyone else. And so no, it has not been done. No seeing of the face, no hearing of the voice, no Trinity. All right, so back to where we were. Judges 5:21. We read that. Verse 23, right? "Angel of the Lord, angel of Yahweh, saying to curse Meroz, curse ye bitterly the inhabitants thereof, because they came not to help Yahweh, to help Yahweh against the mighty," his people, right? People in the nations like Amalek that attacked him from the rear when they were weak, like 1 Samuel 15 talks about in other texts. So there's no playing around here. You want to mace around, you want to play games, you want to worship Baal and attack people who follow Yahweh or his son? Oh, well, may Yahweh address you in Jesus' name. But I highly recommend you avoid dealing with us. It won't go well. It never does. But we got perverts out there. Okay, so we can very clearly see it's the angel of Yahweh. Judges 2, Judges 5, that's who we're talking about. Now let's look at Judges 6. The angel of Yahweh is doing exactly what Yahweh told the people in Exodus 23 it would do. Send the angel ahead. Angel's going to do all these things. You listen to him. He'll pardon or not pardon. You have to fear him, because I'm going to say the words that you're going to hear him speak. It's me, in other words, just like John 14. But if you listen to a pervert, you'll be blind where it concerns both of them. Judges 6. Excuse me. "And Israel was greatly impoverished because of the Midianites. And the children of Israel cried unto Yahweh. And it came to pass when the children of Israel cried unto Yahweh because of the Midianites, that Yahweh sent a prophet unto them, unto the children of Israel, which said unto them," now listen, we already know, like we've shown, and like Yahweh said in Exodus 23, these angels speak for and as Yahweh. They're his words, not the angel's words. proving they're not Yaho, including the fact they even have to pray to get the words like we see in Zechariah 1:14 and elsewhere in Zechariah. But we also see the angel telling Moses that in Exodus 4 and elsewhere. Yeah, you're going to serve as God to Pharaoh because you're going to be speaking his words to Pharaoh. Exactly, just like we do to you. Same thing. Just like Jesus does in the New Testament. Same thing. And yet it's still, who is our God? My God and your God. My Father and your Father. John 20:17. That doesn't change in verse 28. That's confirmed in verse 28. Just like it's confirmed in all these Old Testament texts where they do the same thing to God's angels, created spirits, flames of fire, created, given his name for his glory, Isaiah 43:7, no Trinity. So right here, look, it's the same thing as Moses and these angels. Yahweh sends a prophet to the children of Israel and says unto them, thus saith Yahweh, God of Israel. And it's even more explicit in the Hebrew. Let me show you that real quickly. In the Hebrew, the King James doesn't show this. It says he sent them a man, a prophet, before the angel of Yahweh shows up. Look at Judges 6:7. 6:8. Yahweh sent, look, it doesn't show it for some reason in the Net Bible Parallel Analytical, but it is right there. Ish. That means a man. It says, Yahweh sent a man, Ish, a prophet, Navi, to the sons of Israel, who said to them, thus says Yahweh, God of Israel. Look, even the first person pronoun. That's what this man, this prophet, this Ish Navi, that Yahweh is sending to the people, uses the first person, even the ancient form, and it's more commonly and more recent to say in Hebrew, ani, I, ani. But the ancient way of saying it, and where it is used sometimes, is Anoki. I talk about this a little bit in my writings. But it means the same thing. It just means I. But here we have this man, this prophet, speaking directly to the people as Yahweh God. I brought you up from Egypt. Anoki. I. And brought you out of the house of bondage. Just like the angel was talking about earlier when we were reading. In Judges 2. So this is the point, everyone. What they don't understand, well, they understand they're liars. This is what angels, spirit, and angels, humans do. They're both presented as speaking as God to and for God to us. Even these humans. It's not just Moses. This man, prophet, that shows up before the angel of the Lord. Let me just show you in the parallel of the English so you know, right? The again, the cross here doesn't show the translation for that word. I'm sure some of these translations will have it. International Standard Version. The Lord sent a man who was a prophet. That's so interesting. Many of these don't do it. Young's literal. Jehovah sendeth a man, a prophet. Isn't that interesting? A lot of these translations. English Revised doesn't say man. Darby, well, Dewey Rheims, so if that's correct to the Latin, no man. American Standard, no man. American King James, no man. King James 2000. Net Bible just says a prophet. Right, but it very clearly says it right here in the Aleppo Codex. Yaol sent a man, Ish, right there. And it's not in with the, later Nazareth pronunciation, right? This is the Aleppo just with the characters. That's the Hebrew word for Ish. And then reading right to left, Ish Navi. Ish Navi El Beni Yisrael, to the children of Israel, sons of Israel. So it's also here in the WLC, Ish Navi. Leningrad Codex. I have the Leningrad and I have the Aleppo right here. Leningrad's a little bigger. I always check when it's significant. So there's no question the word for man is here. I wonder what the NWT says. Judges 6:8. I'll bet you NWT got it right. Young's got it right. Let's see if the New World Translation gets it right. Jehovah proceeded to send a man, a prophet. So I don't know why all these translations, the NIV, NLT, ESV, New American Standard, is the Revised Standard in here? King James, right? They all leave out the word, except for Young's literal. I think there was one other. They don't translate the Hebrew. They just translate one of the terms, prophet. And even the Greek, right? According to Sweets right here. Lord sent a man, Andra, right there, far right. Andra prophetain, prostus huius Israel, to the children, sons of Israel. So why are these translations not doing that? It's so weird, huh? Well, maybe because it's speaking from the first person. Even saying in Sweets, ego e me. Right? Saying, Lord, the God of Israel, I am, who brought you up out of Egypt. So this is a man. It says right here, a man, a prophet, said to them, ego e me, or in the Hebrew, anoki, the archaic form of ani. I am Lord, the God of Israel. Kyrios ha theos Israel. In the Hebrew, it says Yaho right here. So, we have a man using ego e me with the understood predicate of Lord, the God of Israel. Exactly. Because ego e me means I am whatever is being discussed. And in this case, it's a man prophet speaking as Yaho. He's not Yaho because, we're not stupid and we're not pagan. It's a man speaking as Yaho. And Yaho is saying, I am, ego e me, Anoki, the Lord God of Israel. That's the understood predicate, just like blind man's the understood predicate of John 9:9. Son of man's the understood predicate of John 8, multiple times. Game over. All right. So that's very important, right? This idea that people can't speak as God, literally say ego e me, Kyrios ha theos, right? No, they can and they do. It's a man, it's a prophet, unless you're reading one of your perverted translations. Yeah, I think I'll stay with the New World Translation, or even something as old as Young's, versus go with you perverts. Even the NIV, though it claims to translate judges of the Hebrew, it didn't even get the word man from the Greek. And even though it gets angels from the Greek all the time, as we know for gods. Really weird. Okay, so that's clear. These guys are gone or just not good at translating or leave a lot out that's important. And in this case, it's a very important term. Ish, Andre, Andras, Andra was the form used. That says it's a man, a prophet. that says ego me, Kyrios hatheos Israel. Right. No, because they speak for and as God, just like Moses did to Pharaoh, no Trinity. Same with the angels. They tell us that explicitly. Only these perverts can't figure it out. They're all created spirits, flames of fire, sent forth to serve. No one more so than this angel we're talking about right now. All of them, in fact, whether this one's the special or primary one or not from Exodus 23. Probably. But that's the one who's speaking Yahweh's words and we're hearing its voice. This is real simple. Just like with this man right here, this prophet. Okay, let's go back to the multi now. Oh, we'll just go to the King James. And we'll come back to that if we need to. So let's go back to verse, I think we left off. We just read verse 8. Okay, we read right here. So this man, it says a prophet in the King James, but it says Yahweh sent a man, a prophet, who then starts speaking. It says, thus saith Yahweh, God of Israel, I brought you up. This is the man talking. This is the man prophet Yahweh sent to speak as Yahweh, just like Moses. Okay, so it's not just Exodus 4:7. No. I delivered you out of the hand of the Egyptians, out of the hand of all that opposed you, drove them out from before you, gave you their land, and I send it unto you, I am Yahweh your God. This is the man prophet talking. Fear not the gods of the Amorites in whose land ye dwell, but ye have not obeyed my voice. Verse 11, and there came an angel. Okay, this is after what we just read with that man prophet. Now the angel of Yahweh, and it doesn't say the in the Hebrew like I showed you earlier. It just says malach. Okay? It's not necessarily the angel. It could be, and there came. Oh, it actually does in the King James say an angel. An angel of Yahweh. But in verse 12, it says the angel of Yahweh. But I checked, and we'll check again. They're all just malach. I didn't see any that had the article in Hebrew. There came an angel of Yahweh who sat under an oak which was in Ophrah, that pertained unto Joash. And his son Gideon threshed wheat by the winepress to hide it from the Midianites. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him and said to him, Yahweh is with you, thou mighty man of valor. And Gideon said unto him, O my Lord. It actually uses the word for Lord here, Adoni and Kyrie. O my Lord, if Yahweh be with us, why then is all this befallen us? And where be all his miracles which our fathers told us of, saying, did not Yahweh bring us up out of Egypt? But now Yahweh has forsaken us and delivered us into the hands of the Midianites. And Yahweh looked upon him and said, go in this thy might, and thou shalt save Israel from the hand of the Midianites. Oh, a savior. Yahweh is appointing Gideon as a savior, just like he sent his son as savior of the world. 1 John 4:14, no Trinity. Have I not sent thee? And he said unto them, O my Lord, the same again, Adoni, Kyrie, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I am the least in my father's house. And Yahweh said unto him, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. Now, there's a couple things here that Sam, of course, completely collapses on. One of which is this is the word for echad, like Deuteronomy 6:4, one. But it's referring to one man and the whole group of people, right? As one man. Exactly, you pervert. But they're not all persons of one man. It's just referring to them collectively, like is commonly done. He's unbelievable. They're all actually individual human men, aren't they? Which would contradict exactly what he lies to people about when he tries to say there's a plurality in these uses of one or singular pronouns. Like with the nation of people, that doesn't matter. It's a collective reference, whether it's one or a singular pronoun, they're all still individual human beings, you pervert. That's not a parallel for what you're talking about with the Trinity. It disproves what you're talking about because God is not a nation of individual spirit beings. So your parallel is false. It's a false analogy. You're a liar. Just like when you lie about uses of echad. Right here. They're all still individual human beings. What are you talking about? It's called the collective reference, you pervert. Unbelievable. He gets Trinity from this type of reference. These people are gone, everyone. Just try not to let Sam depress you with his lies. He's very happy with lying. He'll be happy until the day his lies stop. And then you're going to find out just what the price of all these lies are. And that's not going to be at my hands or even man's hands either. It's going to be at the hands of a strong angel punishing this pervert. All right, another thing here that'll destroy this pervert and these other perverts. Verse 16 in the Hebrew. Let's just take a quick look at it. All his lies and his despicable teachings about singular pronouns and uses of a God, right? The way this guy, you guys have got to stop him. Okay, when he does that, you say, well, Sam, yeah, that's a nation of actual separate human beings. It's just a collective reference. So when you refer to God by singular pronoun, are you saying they're individual gods and just referred to collectively? No, you're not, are you? Again, you're assuming the Trinity. That disproves it, you pervert. Singular pronoun, use of a God for a multiplicity viewed collectively? Exactly. That disproves you. We just can't seem to get others to figure that out fast enough to call you on the carpet live and say, no, you're a liar. How many people are in that nation? Exactly. How many gods are in God? Exactly. So, false analogy, you lose, game over. Oh yeah, we were going to look at Judges 6:16. So on this whole Exodus 3 and, I am stuff, and kind of brought up a few things with Ani and Enoki and Egoimi, right? As you see, and we've talked all about it. They're liars. They don't know what they're talking about. But look at Judges 6:16 for another instance of Ehyeh, the form used in Exodus 3:14 when Yahweh is talking to Moses and says, tell him, Ehyeh, Asher, Ehyeh, I will be who I will be, sent me to you. You notice how, and we'll read again, Moses, it's very similar, right? In Exodus 3, what's Moses doing? He's saying, well, look, he's asking Yahweh to tell him something, to tell people, to reassure him, right? What if these people keep asking me, who is it? Who's going to do this? What do I tell them? So Moses wants to know what he's going to tell him when he goes to the people, right? So Yahweh tells him, you tell them, the one I will be who I will be. Tell them that. I'm going to show them. I'm going to show them who I am. It's about what's going to happen. It's a future, imperfect form of that verb. Ehyeh, haya, hawa is the base form. Hawa is the older form. Okay. So Exodus 6:16, and said to him Yahweh, surely I will be with you. Ehyeh. And remember, Gideon wants to know, how is this going to all happen, right? It's very similar to Exodus 3, everybody. Remember to bring up Judges 6 when people want to talk about Exodus 3 in the meaning of the Hebrew. It's easy to prove they're perverts, but it's very obvious that in response to both questions, Moses questioned Yahweh and in Exodus 3 and Gideon's question here to Yahweh. His response is Ehyeh. I will be with you. That's how you're going to defeat them. Look, that's how you're going to defeat them. I will be with you. It hasn't happened yet. Okay, and the Greek also, in this case, translates Ehyeh in verse 16 by the future, estai, I will be. What some Jewish versions of Exodus 3:14 later than the official Septuagint, or around that time, but not official. Right? The Septuagint uses ha'on, the being, for Ehya in Exodus 3:14. So it's still not ego and me, right? They're gone. But it's still unfolding in the progressive participial sense that ha'on can have as it's presently happening and continuing to happen. But it's better to translate it by a future Greek form of me, like right here in Judges 6:16. You have Ehya in response to a question about how they're going to know or what they're going to say to some people they haven't yet got to. Moses hasn't yet told the Israelites about this. Gideon hasn't yet defeated the people they're going to defeat. So they both want to know how's this going to happen. Moses wants to know what am I going to tell him. Gideon wants to know how's this going to happen. Yahweh says to both of them, Ehya. That's how it's going to happen. Septuagint translates it ha'on. Some Jewish translations, early Greek translations, do say esamai, right? I will be. But that's similar right here. Estai. Okay? So just keep that in mind. Okay, let's just finish it up. We left up right there. Don't forget that too, right? His failure to understand these uses of one for a collective, or singular pronouns for a collective, right? He's gone. Or singular verbs in the New Testament, right? Whole video about it, gone. So let's read through verse 22. And he said to them, if I have now found grace in thy sight, show me a sign. Depart not thence, I pray thee, until I come unto thee, and bring forth thy present, and set it before me. Let's look at the NIV just real quickly. Because King James is kind of, it's not easy to read. And Yahweh said, I will wait until you return. Gideon's going to go and prepare food. Remember I said angels could take form, eat with people like Abraham, Lot, Genesis 18:19, and Jesus' New Testament right here. So it says Yahweh, but we don't see angel, and you're going to see it even more clearly. So we saw it earlier as well. In verse 11. So we know this is Jehovah's angel, verse 19. Gideon went inside, prepared a young goat, and from an ephah of flour he made bread without yeast, putting the meat in a basket and its broth in a pot. He brought them out and offered them to him under the oak. Verse 20. The angel of God said to him, and it does say God in the Hebrew here. It doesn't use the divine name. Take the meat and the unleavened bread, place them on this rock, and pour out the broth. This is the angel. It just says Malach, though. It doesn't say the angel in the Hebrew. And Gideon did so. Then the angel of Yahweh touched the meat and the unleavened bread with the tip of the staff that was in his hand. Fire flared from the rock, consuming the meat and the bread, and the angel of Yahweh disappeared. Verse 22, when Gideon realized that it was the angel of Yahweh, he exclaimed, Alas, sovereign Lord, I have seen the angel of Yahweh face to face. Verse 23, Yahweh said to him, Peace, do not be afraid, you are not going to die. Remember how we discussed also in the prior show, angels of Yahweh in Hosea and Genesis 32, and how we've talked about before and in Thursday's show. So when you see these angels, you think in many of these accounts, right? Most of them, in fact, probably, they think they're going to die many times. But they don't die because it's an angel. That's why we read Exodus 33 earlier, We're at the last verse of that chapter. Yahweh says, and earlier in the, I think verse 20 it was, can't see me and live. You can only see my backside if I cover you up and put you behind a rock. And that only happened with Moses, no one else. John 1:18 confirms that, right? Confirms the Son, reveals the Father to us that no one has seen God. That's who God is. Again, God only means God, the God, or gods, a God. There's no person. It's just an invention they lied to you about so they can fool you. He's literally just fooling you. I don't know why you guys let him do it so much. Either way, they don't have any other choice, So these beings make you want to die. Just like in Daniel 10, when the angels appear there, Michael and Gabriel, Daniel has no life in him. He wants to die. Just like we see with John, with the angels, and Jesus in Revelation. Same thing. Just like with Manoah's wife, and later in this chapter we're going to read. It's our final account. We're going to get to it next. Judges 13. Manoah thinks he's going to die. But he doesn't die when this same angel ascends off the altar. His wife tells him if you want Yahweh wanted to kill us, he would have killed us, okay? But it's not a question of that. It's a question of they're not Yahweh. They're angels, created spirits, flames of fire. That's why we read again Psalm 104, Hebrews 1, that doesn't change ever. What also never changes is you cannot see Yahweh's face and live, ever. What does it say right here? Gideon did. He saw the angel of Yahweh face to face. And he did not die. Also, he doesn't have to hide. Also, Yahweh doesn't have to cover him with his hands while he's hiding behind a rock. This proves right here that the angel of Yahweh, throughout this whole book and everywhere else that we've been talking about, Exodus 23, same angel, is not Yahweh, which we all already know who aren't stupid or pagan beyond belief. But if you can't see it from this, you're stupid. They're looking directly at the angel of Yahweh in the face. And even other accounts where it says it's Yahweh, they're seen in the face. Other accounts like we read recently showed, no, it's an angel. They're all angels like Yahweh told Moses because they can't see him and live. It says right here, Gideon lived and saw him face to face. And he's been looking at him the whole time, in fact. But at this point, right, it's more in the flame, like with Judges 13 coming up. The angel causes a fire to consume the offering and disappears with it. And that's when Gideon, it says right then, Gideon realized it was the angel of Yahweh, just like Manoah. We're going to see in just a second. So you have both Manoah and Gideon recognizing at the point of fiery ascension and disappearance that this being is an angel, and they saw it face to face. They're looking right at it as this all is happening, both accounts. And do not die. So why would Yahweh say you're not going to die when he told Moses you're going to die? You see my face? Sorry, you're going to die. Can't do it. We also see that Jacob saw an angel. It said God face to face. No, it was an angel like we saw in our last show. Hosea, angels of Yahweh. That's what the Bible teaches. Okay, so anyone who departs from that is just a liar. They're just taking advantage of the way the Bible speaks at times without having to baby everybody and remind them, you're never seeing Yahweh face to face. You can't do it. Isn't once enough to Moses, one of the most famous accounts in the Bible, and then that being reiterated later by John, Jesus' most beloved apostle? I would think so, especially if you're going to argue for the Trinity. You can't figure those out, huh? But you want us to believe in the Trinity. Now, how about no? We'll stay with what the Bible teaches. And the Bible teaches you can look directly at the angel of Yahweh face to face and not die. So no, just like Jesus in the New Testament, no one has seen God at any time, because if you do, you're going to die. But you can see Jesus, the only begotten God, the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament, because they're not Yahweh. No, they're created spirits, flames of fire, sent forth to serve. Psalm 104, Hebrews 1, game over, right? Tilt on steroids. We read all that. Do we want to go further? Okay, that's good. Let's go to our last account. Judges 13, right? The big one. Let me check the perv out real quick. We're going to read this last account, everyone. Partake and we're done. Thank you for joining me. A little bit longer show because we looked at a couple other texts. Dealt with a few perv out attempts. All related stuff, though. We looked at Psalm 104. We looked at Hebrews 1. We looked at Colossians 1. Blew out a pervert. Let me see what's happening here. What's going on? You guys are all pumped up. On fire. I love it. It's what we come for, right? We get everyone. We know. We're motivated. We're all around the earth. We're growing. But we don't need to be many. 2 or more. That's it. You get more people regularly. Great. Then everyone can assume their position and continue taking the lead appropriate to their gift. Pretty simple, right? We don't need a pervert and a pagan pope to figure that out. Seeking Allah, finding Jehovah. Angel agency, that's the key to correct understanding of biblical theology. Absolutely. If you don't have that, it's over because that's what it is, right? Angels, sons of God theology, Job 38, same thing. All God's angels, all his sons of God. Yeah, you have to understand that. That's why we're spending all this time with it, seeking Allah. That's why we started this series, because we realized these guys are so gone. They're not only lying about us claiming, whether the Bible teaches Jesus is an angel. They're like literally lying about Jesus being an angel, the type of angel he's not, right? Uncreated, never taught about in the Bible, and all these other things that associate him directly with all the angels in the Bible as sons of God. Right? My unanswerable question, right? 2 Peter 2:11, all the associated texts, game over. All right, you guys are on fire. That's outstanding. Let's finish the text. Just wanted to check it. Okay, last account. We're going to read basically this whole chapter, pretty much, because we're going to cover it all, everybody. Let's do it. Judges 13, last account involving angels in this book. And then we'll partake. We're done. Verse 1. Again, the Israelites did evil in the eyes of Jaho. So Jaho delivered them in the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. A certain man of Zorah named Manoah from the clan of the Danites had a wife who was childless, unable to give birth. And the angel of Jaho appeared to her and said, and again, all these references in the Hebrew to angel of Jaho, it just says Malach. It does not say the angel of Jaho, although that could be the meaning, depending on how you see it. But it also very well could mean an angel of Jaho appeared to her and said, you are barren and childless, but you are going to become pregnant and give birth to a son. Now see to it that you drink no wine or other fermented drink, and that you do not eat anything unclean. You will become pregnant and have a son whose head is never to be touched by a razor, because the boy is to be a Nazarite, dedicated to God from the womb. He will take the lead in delivering Israel from the hands of the Philistines. Then the woman went to her husband and told him, a man of God came to me. Now remember, it was the angel of Jaho. But they take form when they're appearing unless they change, like when they offer sacrifice and turn into a flame of fire or speak from a bush on fire. The woman went to her husband and said, a man of God came to me. He looked like an angel of God. Very awesome. Okay, so even this man, whom she understands to be a man, but there's something kind of cluing her in on him being something more, right? Let's take a look at verse 6 in the Hebrew. Remember, I told you the effect these beings have on them. And he's still in human form. There's just something unusual about him. And beyond human, it's scaring her. Right? It says, so came the woman and told her husband, a man, right? There's that word again, ish. Remember earlier, in the account we read, where it said a man, a prophet was sent and started speaking using ego eimi as Jaho. And it didn't translate a man for ish in that account. And most of the English translations today don't do it. Neither did the King James. Although NWT and Young's do. And it's right there. And it's right here too. Ish, a man. So I don't know why they don't do that. I think they're afraid of the fact that it's speaking as Yaho. These perverts, these Trinitarians run a lot of this stuff. They're specialist translation, right? NIV and others. It bothers them. Either that or they're missing terms, right? Which one is it? You can't see the word man there? What was that? It was from Judges 6, wasn't it? Yeah, it was before the angel of Yaho came. Judges 6:8. It didn't have man here. It had those dashes, right? But yet the same term was right there. A man of God came to me, and his countenance, his appearance, was like the countenance of an angel of God. Awesome. Very. We go that word awesome. You can see from the Brown, Driver, and Briggs Hebrew lexicon, it's derived from the verb for fear. Okay? And that's why in Genesis 3:10, you see the same verb used, where Adam said he's hiding from God and says, I was afraid. Okay, so Manoah's wife was afraid of his appearance, and he's even mostly a man here. So you have Gideon, who was afraid he's going to die, and he knew it. Said he realized it was the angel of Yaho and still thought he was going to die. Yaho had to tell him, no, you're not going to die. And he didn't die. And if he did see him and it was Yaho, he would have died, because Yaho said that and he doesn't lie. And he didn't have to protect him like he did Moses. So game over. So right here, though, right, you can see that even she is afraid of this angel, even as he's a man, appearing to her as a man. Okay, so we were then right here. Yeah, right here. Tells her she's going to become pregnant. Verse 8, Manoah prays to Yaho, pardon your servant. I want to pray you that let the man of God you sent come to us again. So they still thinking it's kind of a man. Teach us. She said it looked kind of like an angel and she was terrified of him. And teach us how to bring up the boy. They're talking about Samson. Verse 9, God heard Manoah and the angel of God came again to the woman while she was out in the field. But her husband Manoah was not with her. The woman hurried to tell her husband, he's here. The man who appeared to me the other day, the angel of God. Manoah got up and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he said, are you the man who talked to my wife? The angel said, I am. And it just says ego here, the personal pronoun, meaning the man who talked to his wife, right? Just like ego and me, in the same function grammatically, they're gone. In the Greek anyway. I have to check the Hebrew, see if it says ani. I think it says ani here, but I'm not sure. I'd have to check. Same thing though. Same as anihu, ani. They don't always say the complete phrase, but it has the same function, referring back to what was stated or asked. The man who talked to my wife. Verse 12. So Manoah asked him, when your words are fulfilled, what is to be the rule that governs the boy's life and work? Verse 13. The angel of Yaho answered, your wife must do all that I've told her. She must not eat anything that comes from the grapevine, nor drink any wine or other fermented drink, nor eat anything unclean. She must do all that I have commanded her. Right? Remember again, Exodus 23, the angel is speaking Yaho's words. He even says in that chapter of Exodus, he's going to speak all the things I command. So you got to listen to him. Obey his voice. Verse 15, Manoah said to the angel of Yaho, we would like you to stay until we prepare young goat for you. Verse 16, the angel of Yaho replied, even though you detain me, I will not eat any of your food. Just like with Gideon. He prepared it for him and everything, right? And then he sacrificed it to Yaho and disappeared at the same time he did that. Just like here. But if you prepare a burnt offering, offer it to Yaho. Well, let me ask you Trinitarian something here. If this angel is Yaho, why wouldn't he just accept the offering? Why would he have to redirect it to be offered to Yaho if he's Yaho, right? It's literally being offered to him right here. So, whereas in the case of Lot and Abraham and others who eat with these angels, they're just offering them to eat. Here the angel's telling him, prepare an offering to Yaol. The angel's not eating it as an offering to itself. It's directing it to be offered to Yaol as an offering. Manoah did not realize that it was the angel or an angel of Yaol. So he doesn't know this, okay? We've talked about this. At this point, remember from what Manoah's wife told him, they think there's something unusual here. She's afraid and thinks it looks like an angel, but it's the man pretty much to them. They don't realize that fully. Verse 17, Manoah inquired of the angel of Yaol, what is your name? So we may honor you when your word comes true. He replied, why do you ask my name? It is beyond understanding, or marvelous, wonderful. Right? And if it's Yaol, there'd be no reason for him not to give his name here. Yaol never withholds his name like this. So the angel's obviously doing that to defer to Yaol and give him his praise and focus and the attention to his name, not his own. Further proving is not Yaol. Verse 19, then Manoah took a young goat together with the grain offering and sacrificed it on a rock to Yaol. And Yaol did an amazing thing while Manoah and his wife watched. As the flame blazed up from the altar toward heaven, the angel of Yaol ascended in the flame. Now, so the angel ascends on the flame of the altar. So is that not the offering? Well, what's being offered and to whom? To Yaol, right? So the angel is actually that part of that offering. It's in my view, prefiguring Jesus as the offering to God which save us. But either way, we can't use that conclusively. My point is that the angel is acting as the offering, not as Yaol. Yaol is receiving the offering in heaven, right? It's being offered toward heaven. The angel ascends in the flame on the earth. Seeing this, Manoah and his wife fall on their faces to the ground. When the angel of Yaol did not show himself again, right? He doesn't come back like with Gideon. He's gone after the flame and the sacrifice of the food. After that happened and the angel doesn't come back, that's when Manoah realizes it was an angel of Yaol, or the angel of Yaol. It says angel. Then after he realizes it's an angel, he says in verse 22 to his wife, we are doomed. We have seen God, or Elohim, Theos in the Greek. Just like is used in Genesis 32 and in Hosea, like we talked about in last show, for the angel that wrestled with Jacob. Very common. Just like it's used in the plural, literally, of the angels in Psalm 8. So here, like in Genesis 32, we have an angel described by the singular Theos, just like Jesus in John 1, just like Jesus in prophecy in Isaiah 9, right? Mighty God, translated by angel of great counsel. That's the same, very similar to what we have here when it comes to the angel being identified. This is obviously an angel, right? It says that explicitly right here. So that's just not what's made explicit in the account of Isaiah 9. And so the translation of the Greek makes sense because it wasn't obvious from the context. Whereas here it is, right? There's no doubt this is the angel. Right? It's been saying that the whole time. So there's no reason to translate Elohim by angelos here. It makes sense for the translators to do what they did, translate by Theos. So Manoah thinks after he realizes it's the angel, he's going to die. Just like we saw with Gideon, and Yaol had to tell him, no, you're not going to die. And just like we started to see with his wife, right? When she wasn't sure it was an angel, but it was something about it, terrified her, made her afraid. And he wasn't even fully manifested. Here he is in the flame of the altar. And like with Gideon, Manoah thinks he's going to die because of what he's seen. But he doesn't die, does he? Proving the angel that ascended on the flame is not Yaol. Just like with the angel that appeared to Gideon or to Jacob. All of them, right? They're created spirits, flames of fire sent forth to serve. And that's why this should be translated, we have seen a God, because Manoah knows it's an angel. No one knows, right? No one can get into Manoah's mind and say for sure what he was thinking in verse 22 he actually was seeing. We know what he realized he was seeing. Therefore, since we're not mind readers to the contrary of what is stated he explicitly knew he was seeing, the only explanation that makes sense is like with Gideon and his wife in this very book before him. He saw this angel manifest supernaturally or partially with his wife, she did, became terrified, thought he was going to die, doesn't die, proving it's not God. Knowing it's an angel refers to it by Elohim and Theos. Therefore, regardless of what anyone wants to think he might have thought he saw and was going to die because of it, we have two examples preceding this in this same book. His wife and Gideon explicitly also seen an angel, and in her case, not even knowing for sure if it's an angel and being terrified. And Gideon saw the angel of Jaho, thought he was going to die, had to be reassured. None of them are dying, so it's not Jaho. So without reading Manoah's mind, all we can say and use for our translation effectively is the overall teaching of the text. No one has seen or can see God at any time and live. But more importantly, this realization right here. He knows it's an angel of Jaho. Thinking he's going to die doesn't prove anything because that's how they always react to all of these beings. The only question is whether or not they die. If they don't die, they're not seeing Jaho. It's an angel, flame of fire sent forth for service to represent him. So that's what's happening right here. He's terrified, thinks he's going to die, doesn't die. He's seen an angel, and he refers to that angel as Elohim Theos. So he knowingly does that, knows it's an angel, and is so blown away he realizes, because they know they're spirits. They know the Benai Elohim are, like Genesis 6 teaches, Benai Elohim in that text and elsewhere. That means they're spirit gods. That's why Job says that. They came when the sons of God came before God in Job 2, 1, 6, 2, 1, 38. They're there at the creation. So the only textual and credible way to translate verse 22 is we've seen a God. Because otherwise you're going to create a contradiction with John 1:18 and Exodus 33. And you have to explain why he's calling what he knows is an angel God in a non-Trinitarian context and culture. It won't make any sense, right? That's why they do it. See, they try to seize on these things where it says we've seen God in an English sense. They just defy Exodus 33 and John 1:18 and say, well, see, that angel's God. So you can't use statements by angels saying they're God against Jesus saying or acting as God in the New Testament, even though they're all angels sent by God representing him, no Trinity, right? Because no one can see God and live, and no one has seen God at any time. The only begotten God who's with the Father has explained him. Along with all these angels in the Old Testament, there's more than one of them, Acts 7, Galatians 3. So there's no question. They're just liars and Trinitarians who don't believe the Bible. But we know for sure Gideon earlier in this book and Manoah and his wife, all of them saw this angel and did not die. They were all terrified and thought they were going to die, at least Gideon and Manoah. And his wife just didn't fully know what was going on yet. But they didn't die. So that proves this is not Jaho of Exodus 33 or John 1:18. And it shows that the best translation of what Manoah thought he saw, Elohim Theos, is a God because he lived and he knew it was an angel. So with that, completes our angels of Jaho in Judges. Let me just say a final hello to everybody. We'll partake. Or at least anyone new or see what's happening. No perv outs. Looks good. Okay, good. Awesome. So let's go ahead and thank God the Father for this time we've had together to reflect on Him, His sons, the angels of the Old Testament, and first and foremost of whom, first in all things, His Son, firstborn one, whom He sent to the earth, made lower than the angels, to die faithful in our behalf and give us the means by which we could be reconciled to Him, apart from a sacrificial arrangement like we see in the Old Testament after our first parents sinned. We thank Him for that Son of God who came and lived as a man, the last Adam man, lower than the angels, died and was faithful, and resurrected to His right hand. We thank Him for that body, that perfect, sinless body, that created body that did all those things to God's praise, and so we might live because of the life that was given to be in Him. We thank the Father for that perfect, sinless, spotless, created Lamb. And we thank Him for everything He did. As Christians faithful to the New Testament and the teachings of the apostles carried from Jesus, and they are to be handed on, no other perv out or variation therefrom. Galatians 1, you are cursed if you do that. We partake of the wine as His blood that He shed in our behalf. So I hope you all enjoyed our Angels of Jaho and Judges, and I hope you're enjoying our Angels of Jaho in all these different books of the Bible series. If you haven't watched them before, all of them, I encourage you to do so. We started with Zechariah, and we went to Genesis, did Exodus, and then we did Hosea. So maybe we'll do another book or part of it next Saturday, or we'll go back to a Solus Veritas. We're going to do at least 5 parts of the Solus Veritas, at least foreseeably. And there are also other things that we'll be discussing in our Saturday shows. So I encourage you to join us next Saturday. We'll be here live. Similar process, similar subject. Christian love and praising of Jah the Father through the Son. Cultivating Holy Spirit, love for everyone. Resisting perverts and liars. I will be back next Thursday. Open session, Q&A, either emails or chat questions. I'll try to develop a further interaction with you guys, like a StreamYard thing, but I'm still working on that. But if you have questions, be here this Thursday for a live show, Trinity Exposed live show. We're going to step away from the toxicity of Pagan Sam and his heresies after completely removing from existence one of his primary videos, and that attaches itself to all kinds of other videos and things that he's said and done that are lies. So we'll move on and purge ourselves from his lies and badness and bad behavior, Sam, shame. But we give you credit where possible. But at this point, we're not here to continuously give credit and praise to a liar. Okay, we're here to talk about the Father, praise Him and the Son. And if you're not on the side of the truth, sorry, don't count on too much more praise from us. But we give honor where honor is due. I thank you for joining me. I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday. I do intend to upload a video tomorrow. I was going to do a bunch of parts, of heresies of Athanasius, non-Trinitarian heresies, to kind of help Pagan Prince, Christian Prince out a little against Sam because of the unbalanced attack and all that stuff, and Sam, Instead of what I'm going to do, instead of clips, because they're different, and the sound on a couple of them wasn't great. A couple of the early ones, Athanasius videos. I'm going to just do a video tomorrow morning and record it and upload it. A new video. I'll make that clear. I'm just going to cover a bunch of his heresies, non-Trinitarian heresies. I'll upload it and tag Sam and Pagan Prince. And they can do what they want in their little feud. Either way, I thank all of you. And may you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I pray that Jah blesses you. In Jesus' name.